A few years ago, a huge alien spaceship suddenly appeared in the sky over South Africa, and no one knew why it came to Earth. People assumed that the ship was probably broken since it had not been moving. The military decides to enter the ship to check out the situation, yet they were shocked when they got in. There was a group of prawn-looking aliens living inside, and they were skinny and filthy. And the scientists found that the population of the aliens was more than 1 million. The government decided to relocate all these aliens to a place called District 9 in Johannesburg. Basically, the prawn aliens were treated as refugees. The locals were very much against this policy, they hated the aliens. Recently, a company called MNU has been authorized to take over District 9. The company's plan is to relocate the aliens to a new camp, a place far away from the city. Wikus is in charge of this relocation project. At the moment, he is ordering his men to burn the alien shacks. In fact, the real purpose of this operation is to collect the aliens' advanced weapons. That's right, when these alien refugees came down from their mothership, they brought a lot of powerful alien weapons with them. But only the aliens can use these weapons because the weapons must be activated by the aliens' DNA. Meanwhile, an alien named Chris is conducting experiments in a shack with his friend Paul. They have been synthesizing a special fuel for years, and this fuel is the key to power their spaceships. Their goal is to synthesize enough fuel to power the ship, so that they can return to their own planet. Just then, Wikus arrives at their shack to give them a relocation notice. They are unwilling to leave the shack, then they have a fight, Paul is killed, and Chris runs away. Wikus finds some strange devices here, and he realizes that this is a lab. Then Wikus discovers a strange metal container. He picks it up, but accidentally sprays some black liquid on his face. Little does he know that his fate will be forever changed by this. Back at home, Wikus gradually feels sick and then collapses on the floor. He wakes up and finds himself in the hospital. When the doctor removes the bandages, Wikus discovers that his hand has transformed into an alien hand. Upon learning the news, the company sends a team to the hospital to take Wikus away. But what the company wants is not to heal Wikus, but to study him. Wikus is taken to the company's lab, where scientists discover that his body has been mixed with alien DNA. So they wonder if Wikus is able to use alien weapons. After some tests, the scientists are surprised to find that Wikus is able to use all alien weapons. The company has been studying how to use alien DNA to activate the weapons, but there was little progress. And now Wikus' body is a good study opportunity for them. So they decide to dissect Wikus. Realizing that he is about to get killed, Wikus fights back as hard as he can. He furiously pushes the scientists away. He escapes from the company and goes back to District 9, where he wants to find a way to transform back into a human. Here Wikus meets the alien Chris. Chris understands everything after he sees Wikus' hands. Chris tells Wikus his secret. A few years ago their mothership malfunctioned, so they decided to temporarily park on Earth, and their central control dropship accidentally fell to the ground. And the liquid he sprayed on his face yesterday was actually the fuel used to power the dropship. With the fuel, Chris can drive the dropship back to the mothership, and then use the equipment in the mothership to cure Wikus. So Wikus decides to work with Chris. They want to get the fuel back from the company. With the help of alien weapons, the two manage to break into the company's lab, where they find the fuel. But then Chris discovers something terrible. It turns out that human scientists have been doing brutal medical experiments here, and many of his fellow aliens have been killed and dissected. Just then, the company's security forces arrive, and the two of them are surrounded. At the critical moment, Chris throws an electromagnetic bomb, which blows up the wall. Then the two get into a car and successfully escape. Back in District 9, Chris tells Wikus that he has to return to his home planet first, and then lead a fleet to Earth to save his people. With limited fuel, Chris says he is not going to use it to cure Wikus' mutation for the time being. It takes 3 years to get from Earth to Chris' home planet, and he promises Wikus that he will be back in 3 years to cure him. Wikus thinks he's been tricked, so he knocks Chris out. To heal himself, he has to drive the dropship to the mothership alone. The dropship is successfully activated and is slowly heading towards the mothership. Just then, the company's mercenaries arrive, and they shoot the dropship down. Later, Wikus is captured by the mercenaries. Unexpectedly, the local gang from District 9 appears, and they save Wikus. It turns out that the gang has collected a lot of alien weapons, and they also want to know how to use them, so they need Wikus' help. But this crazy gang boss actually wants to eat his hand. He thinks it will give him the ability to use the alien weapon. Suddenly, Chris' son CJ, who has been hiding in the dropship, remotely activates all the alien equipment. The alien mecha collected by the gang suddenly launches an attack, taking down everyone in seconds. At the same time, the mothership is heading towards them. Then the hatch of the mech slowly opens. It is waiting for Wikus to get in. Wikus walks out in his mech. He spots Chris. At the moment, the mercenaries are interrogating Chris. They want to know what Chris is planning. Wikus decides to rescue Chris and help him return to the mothership, as he has no choice. Wikus covers Chris, and both of them are running in the direction of the dropship. Under heavy fire, the mech is damaged. Wikus urges Chris to go, his son is waiting. Chris doesn't want to leave him behind, but he has to go. He promises Wikus again that he will come back in 3 years, and he will save him and cure him. Later, Chris meets his son at the dropship, it slowly ascends, then they successfully board the mothership. With the whole world watching, they leave the planet. A few days later, Wikus has completely mutated into an alien. He can only live in this alien slum, and he is waiting for Chris to return. I'm Movie Ape, thanks for watching.